half what they had in Virginia.
For real?
My dad, yes, sir.
Wow, I've been to some of them
We
myself.
lived in Front Royal.
Oh, Front Royal.
Yeah.
Wow, you were right in the heart of it. You were indeed. I want to give you this. General Lee gave this one out because you know General Lee was an Episcopalian. This is an Episcopal tract. He gave it out to the boys at Seven Pines, Fair Oaks, 1862. One of the boys from Georgia turned it over and wrote his last letter home on that. And he got killed that day. But the family in Madison County, Alabama, gave us permission to put this on there where we could give it to y'all.
Thank you very much.
Now, I'm going to give you a treat. I'm going to give you one too. You read it to your mom. I don't do this for everybody. I want you to understand. Because I hadn't got very many of them.
All right, thank you, sir.
Oh. Come on. This is the Union drummer boy from Gettysburg. Oh, I love him. I'm a Confederate, but I look forward to hugging his neck and being with him in the glory land because this boy loved Jesus. And I would encourage you to sit down as a family, get you a big box of puffs or Kleenex. Because it is literally going to break your heart, but it's going to bless you. Because this boy was like, wow. So I'm going to give it to you.
Thank you, sir.
He was wounded at the Battle of Gettysburg.
Did he survive?
You'll have to find out.
Did he survive?
He survived the battle, but it was some days later that the wounds, he died later. But the testimony is awesome. I mean, it's like, wow. Usually I would purchase 200 of them to give out 100 of them a day, but I forgot this year. So I only had like 30, so I've just been pretty selective. Like, I'm glad you have that. I want to see you. Oh, this is wonderful to have this. Have you looked at this?
Yeah,
This right here is so amazing. This was drawn by a soldier in the Union Army who was inside the fort during the 3-day battle. And he drew this, and it was in an archive somewhere up in Ohio, and the archives in Decatur got it. And so they let us print it each year to give to you, because he's describing. All right, I'm going to tell you what happened. Okay, you want to get comfortable? You can sit anywhere you like. Just sit here, sit on there, any of those places. Oh, let me plug my jug. This is an old jug, got water in it. Oh, yeah. Okay, come on. Because what happened, it was October of 1864, October the 26th, Atlanta had fallen. Sherman was on his march to the sea. Hood decided he would do a counter thing, and he would try to draw him up this way by going and attacking Nashville. Okay, which he ultimately did. But they started coming to the west from Atlanta. They're going to go up, cross the Tennessee River, and join up with General Nathan Bedford Forrest, who's one of Gregory's great presentations, Nathan Bedford Forrest. So on October the 26th, they arrived right out here. Highway 67 is to the south. They were coming up that Somerville Road to Decatur. There was no lake. They came across Flint Creek just beyond this park, and they're coming up onto this ground. Well, when you open your map up of the thing, they had made a big killing field. I mean, just spread out a huge killing field where they could see the enemy coming a long way off and turn their cannons on them and shoot them and all that, way at a distance so they couldn't sneak up on them. Okay, so there were 35,000 Confederates coming this way, and they split. I don't know if you know where Hartselle is, and Moulton. One of the groups went through what is now Hartselle, where there was no Hartselle then, went toward Moulton, and then the Hood's army, the ones that are under him, came this way, and they're going to go across the pontoon bridge. The pontoon bridge is pictured right here. The Union Army had made a mistake. When Forrest came to town one day, a slave came and told the garrison that Forrest was bringing thousands of men and they were going to get them, and they were so terrified of Forrest that they ran across the railroad bridge and they set it on fire, and they made the Union government exceedingly angry with them. And so they had to build a pontoon bridge, and Hood thought maybe they could go across the pontoon bridge, make a shortcut to go meet up with Forrest. going up to Nashville, you know, kind of like I-65. So they're going to go that way. All right. So here they come. And if you notice on your page, there at the bottom of the page, you see the soldiers on horseback, Union Cavalry on Bank Street in Decatur, Alabama. That's actually like it was. A bunch of a cavalry contingent rode out here, and the Confederate Army knew they were coming, and they brought the cannons up, with skirmishers out on both sides, and they annihilated those guys.
Wow.
But they didn't all get wiped out. They returned fire, and they got some Confederates too. But then they went down to the fort and they fought for 2 more days. As Gregory will tell you, this is the way the Union Army operated. All of the white boys stayed in the fort. The U.S. colored troops were sent out to do the dirty work, to fight them on the outside. So they were the ones that sat outside the fort. Okay. Now, so they got the initial blood here. They went back and told the fort. A few of them made it back. But it's very interesting that there were 2 little boys born on the Somerville Road out there, and they had lived during their early childhood, and then their family moved to Mississippi. And these grown men now in a Mississippi regiment, one of them was a doctor, one of them was an officer, and he said, the doctor said, I want in on this. So he came up to the line, and he's shooting these guys on the horseback, you know, and he got shot. Mortally wounded. It was late in the day that they got here, and this all started just before dark. So they got him on a litter and they took him into a house, and they lit the kerosene lamp, and they realized he was dying and dictating his last letter. His brother was writing it down to send back to his wife and kids in Mississippi, and he was dying in the same room he was born in.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
And that has been published, and you can probably pick it up online. William and Columbus Sykes, S-Y-K-E-S, is an old name from Decatur. But check them out online. But that's what happened here. And I'm going to tell you about some of these tracks. Did I give you any of the tracks? I gave you the lead. All right. And this one is very politically correct. It was published in New York City and American Tract Society. It's about a slave from Africa, and he lived in South Carolina. His pastor wrote the tract, and he was taught to read, which was amazing then. And he read the Bible, and he was a very godly man. So I'll give you one of his. And then I'll reach in my box and get you more stuff. There's the one from Georgia there, and then we got one from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I think there's one here from Boston, Massachusetts. Oh, the Prince, yes, the Prince. Oh, this is an amazing one here. This is amazing. They're all amazing, but they got their own little story. There's a rebellious teenager. How old are you? 14. And let me dig down. I get some more. Get some more. Yeah, I'm gonna get this. Okay, this needs to be out here anyway. This is a preacher to the slaves from South Carolina. They loved him. He was a chaplain, and let me get something to put on there. I'm going to tell you this other story, and I won't hold you up anymore. I'm boring you with all my things, okay? This is my mother's churn lid. She used to sit on this. My mother, if she were living, my mother would be 104 now, but she milked cows on this stool in our barn, and she was a really good woman. And well, this is what I want to tell you about. Athens, Alabama. About 20 years ago, there was an old building being torn down in Athens, and I heard about it. So I went up there, and there were some old things in it. Well, this was in there, and I said, this is going to be back in print. So it is a story of this slave, and his master was a bad man. He beat him with a whip, and he beat him for praying. And this slave was praying, and he kept praying, and the master finally came to know the Lord, set him free, and the 2 of them went around spreading the gospel together.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Isn't that amazing? But I mean, every one of these tracks have a story behind them. If you just read them. But you're welcome to any of them. They're all free. And this tells more. You got the program. I'm glad you got the program.
Yes.
Have you looked inside at the map?
Yes, sir.
The